Well, good morning to you. Hope you had a great day. And if you're living in central Maine, we got more than an inch or two of snow. So I hope you're safe as you shovel out and that this will be a good break for you as you come in from shoveling and clearing out your path. So this morning we're going to be in Genesis 48. I got a particular audience I want to talk to. So this morning, if you're a grandparent, I really want you to pay attention. And if you're not a grandparent, but you're of that age of a grandparent, boy, there's going to be a strong application for you this morning. So let's go ahead. Let's get into Genesis chapter 48. It's a sad part of the story. It's a part that comes to us all. And excuse me, this is a time that Jacob is beginning to say his goodbyes. He is beginning the process of passing away, and he is saying those things that he wants to say. It's the last things that he's going to say, so we know that they are very true, very heavy on his heart. So this is a sad part of the story as we get into Genesis chapter 48. Jacob is he's saying the last things to his family. He's first of all going to address his grandsons, two specific sons that were given to Joseph. All right, they are going to be able to inherit a double inheritance for Joseph. So Joseph gets the inheritance that he got because he's Jacob's son, excuse me. But then Joseph's sons, Jacob's grandsons, they are going to receive an inheritance just as if they were Jacob's sons. So Joseph is receiving what the firstborn son should be receiving, even though Joseph wasn't the firstborn son. So he's getting double inheritance. And that, again, could get the other brothers jealous, but Joseph hasn't been there for a while, and he is making sure that he gets what he wants, or that Jacob gets what Jacob wants him to get. So Jacob's grandsons were to be treated as one of Jacob's sons, not a grandson, and they're going to get that inheritance. Jacob blesses the boys, and he's going to put his hands on them, and the right hand always goes to the oldest, the left hand goes to the other son. But when Joseph brings his sons into Jacob, Jacob crosses his hands and he puts his right hand on the younger son that is meant for the older son. And he is giving the older son's blessing to the younger one, and the younger one is getting the older son's blessing. The older son is always to get the bigger inheritance because he was the first and he was the oldest. Now, one thing that stuck out in the commentaries that I read was verse 15, that Jacob says that God has been his shepherd all of his life. Now, Jacob was following God's leading, and God has been providing, protecting, tending, and leading Jacob. And if you would go back and read the story of Jacob, it starts in probably maybe chapter 24, 25, 26, somewhere in there, and it goes to this chapter 48. Jacob has not lived a perfect life. Jacob has done things that have been against God, they have been against his word, and yet Jacob is able at the end of his life to say, you know what? God has continued to provide, protect, tend to me, and lead me, even though I haven't lived a perfect life. And this, again, friends, this just brings so much comfort to me knowing that our biblical heroes, they did not live a perfect life, but they continued to follow God and his word. They continued to grow in their relationship with God, and it brought comfort and encouragement to me. Jacob is going to give his grandsons, Joseph's two sons, he's going to give them two blessings. He's going to give them a material blessing, and that's the things of this world. He's going to say, I hope that you get lots of stuff. I hope that you get, if you will, everything that you want. I hope that you have no needs in this world as you would walk through it. But the more important thing is he gives them a spiritual blessing. He wants them to walk closely with God. He wants them to have a relationship with God. He wants them to follow in obedience. And so many times, friends, we get our earthly perspective first and then our eternal perspective second. When you read this blessing, he's not speaking against the material, but he's saying the more important thing is that you walk with God. This is a guy that's 160, 170 years old, got a lot of life behind him, doesn't have too many days in front of him. And he looks back and says, I've got all these things of the world, but the thing that matters most is that I walked with God, that he has been my shepherd. Jacob's family, the tribe of Israel, is to only be in Egypt for a short time. Their ultimate destination, they will go back to the promised land. They will go back to the land of Canaan, and that's where the book of Exodus comes in, is Moses leads them out, but they stay in Egypt for a while. This is only a short vacation, if you will, that ends up being a couple hundred years. So Jacob's family is to remain in Egypt for a short time. Remember God's promise in Genesis 46 and 47 that Jacob would die in Egypt, but he's going to be able to be there with Joseph. And then Jacob makes his sons promise not to leave him in Egypt. But when we leave, make sure you take me with you. Don't leave me here in Egypt. So, how can we apply this today? Well, I'm going to speak specifically to grandparents and people that may not be grandparents, but are the age of grandparents. So, let me apply this to us. Grandparents and older folks. You have so much wisdom and you have so much understanding. You have a perspective of life that people like me and younger don't have. You've had a time to reflect and you've had time to remember the blessings of God. So, for you who's older, who can you impart that wisdom and knowledge to today? You may have grandkids. I would urge you to speak truth into their life. I would urge you to find a way to connect with them, whether it's over FaceTime, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's over a cup of hot chocolate, a glass of chocolate milk, you name it. Figure out how you can impart your wisdom and knowledge to them because you have a perspective that they don't have. To the younger folks that are not grandparents' age, we need to sit and listen because they do have wisdom, they do have understanding, and they do have a knowledge that we don't have, that perhaps they could help save us from some heartache that we could possibly be doing if we would not listen to their advice. What a great passage. It's sad. This is a sad passage to see a loved one, their grandfather, pass away, but it's also a great opportunity for us to impart the wisdom if you're that age, and then to receive that wisdom imparted if you're not that age. Hope you have a great Tuesday. I hope that you stay safe and that you stay warm. And I'll see you back here for Genesis chapter 49 tomorrow morning. Have a great Tuesday.